Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tim Sohn here with Sohn Social Media Solutions, and I'm here with my friend Jim Fuse. Take it away, Jim.
Hey guys, this is Jim Fuse from Fusion Marketing, coming to you live from the Band Room in Haymarket, Virginia, my temporary studio as I continue to recover from Hurricane Florence. Great to be here, Tim.
Great, thanks, Jim. And today we have a special guest. His name is Gary Casey. And thank you so much for being on the show today, Gary. Today we're going to talk about LinkedIn for B2B business development, and he is the master of this.
Yeah, I'm the master. Listen, thank you for asking me. I've watched a couple of your programs, Tim and Jim, and I found them very informative. And Tim, we've talked about LinkedIn a little bit, and I do some things a little bit differently. And you asked me to kind of expand on that in this discussion. So happy to do that, and I hope it'll help other people out there. My focus is business to business and not really business to consumer.
Sure. So tell everybody a little bit about your what you do, what your company is, how you help your type of companies you focus on.
Sure. Yeah. My company is Bluestone TC, or Technical Consulting. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to post the reference site later, but I use LinkedIn quite a bit. I do consulting, business development consulting for companies providing very technical information or a technical product or service. My focus is really the pharma and biotech industries. I've been working in that area for, I'll lie and I'll say 35 plus years without getting too specific, but I've had a lot of experience in business development in that area. And over the last 4 or 5 years with Bluestone Technical Consulting, I've really started to utilize the current technology, the social media, particularly in LinkedIn, but in the other categories, to enhance what I need to do in identifying the right people to talk to and to present my clients' information. And it's worked well.
Great. We have a viewer. His name's Andrew Lee, and he is a partner of a new business called DigiMentors. Are you guys hearing feedback?
Yeah, hearing a little bit.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, Andrew. We would love to for you to put a link down below to your LinkedIn profile. Andrew is a partner in this company called DigiMentors. He's a partner with somebody named Sree, S-R-E-E. You can follow him on Twitter, and his last name is Srinivasan. He used to be the chief digital officer for the Met and for the city of New York, as well as Columbia Journalism School. And we're talking about working together to bring an event here to Northeast Pennsylvania. So more details coming in terms of that. But thank you for tuning in, Andrew. And please let us know if you have any questions about LinkedIn. So Gary, talk a little bit more about in terms of how you started, why are you using LinkedIn? And what do you think are some tips if somebody's starting out using LinkedIn for business development? How can they get started?
Sure. Yeah, how I started. Well, as I started consulting, I've had my own companies. I had a clinical packaging company in Philadelphia, a process chemistry company. So we had companies in the 90s and into the early 2000s that did a lot of service and contract services for the industry. So now what I'm doing is taking that kind of experience and identifying and matching up customers with my clients who need their services, whatever it might be. I have a background in that, so it's easy for me to step into that role. What LinkedIn does for me is it gives me access to the 400 million, 500 million people on LinkedIn that are really business to business people. So these are people that are working in all sorts of industries, as you know. My particular interest is in pharmaceutical and biotech, and there's probably a couple 100,000 it's a relatively small industry compared to some, but maybe 400,000 people on LinkedIn in the pharmaceutical and biotech industry. So it allows me to drill down and identify those folks, and gives me the capabilities that I need to initiate a discussion, provide them with information, and doing all this remotely, which is really what people want to do today. I mean, in my early years in business, sales calls were, pick up the phone, call the receptionist and ask for the head of research and development. Well, these companies don't even have a receptionist anymore. So it's changed, and this is a very good tool to get into the door with them. So kind of what I do is for my clients is I start out with, I mentioned Google Alerts. Google's an excellent technique, but being the number one search engine, Google has a tremendous amount of capability in terms of the Google Alert program for identifying very niche subject matter that I'm looking for. So I follow 8 to 10 Google Alerts. I get them batched, so I get them once a week instead of getting them daily because it would just be too much to do.
Sure.
So I batch them once a week, and then go through the Google Alerts and extract the names of the companies or of the CEO or the head of R&D that I want to talk to. I carry that forward to LinkedIn. I start my search process for the company. I find out, again, the same people. If I didn't get their name from the Google Alert, I get it from LinkedIn. And then I start to drill down and see how to open up a dialogue with them. So there's a couple ways to do that on LinkedIn. And I use them all because really my goal is to have a dialogue with that person. So you can connect with them, which can be very effective, but you got to be careful because people don't want to, we all get connection requests, and I agree to ones that I think are appropriate to me. If they're not, and I can't figure out what this person wants to talk to me about, I deny it. I don't think there's any value. So people are doing that to me at the same time. So I have to give them something in a quick, you can leave a comment section on your connection, telling them about something that I think is of value to them and their company. So I'll give you a quick example. Sure. I work with a nano drug delivery technology company. So I'll send a connection request to a CEO of an emerging pharmaceutical company, and I'll say, look, I'd like to connect. I'd like to discuss nano drug delivery and its application for messenger RNA delivery into the cell. Now, I've done my homework on this company. I know what he's doing. I understand his industry, and he understands my cryptic, very specific request. And I get a pretty good connection hit rate on that. So typically what I find is the kind of things that I'm doing, if they're highly technical and kind of a niche opportunity, my services work best. If they're more of a commodity, I'm less effective because they have many sources for the commodity. So I'm trying to reach out to those people that are really looking for solutions and are looking for opportunities to do that. So I use the Google Alerts. I go into LinkedIn. I start to build that process of identifying people, messaging them. And then once we open up the dialogue, then I start to share my clients' information with them through PDF and through slide packages, with the goal of setting up a meeting, a conference call, either with myself or with myself and our client, and really start the business development process at that point.
That's really, really useful information, Gary. Do you have any questions, Jim?
Yeah, Gary, have you, well, a couple things. Have you started to use video at all with LinkedIn? I've heard people are getting a lot of great reach out of it. And also, how often are you creating posts as well, or are you sharing posts from outside to inside, or using the native post feature within LinkedIn?
Yeah, no, good questions, all of them. I'll try to remember them all. If I forget, hit me again.
Right.
I do use the posts inside. I post my own information relevant to the kind of base I'm trying to talk to. So if I see a good article on CRISPR technology, which is a gene editing technology used for editing RNA, I'll just post that general article, quite often into my feed. And I get a lot of hits from those. Not a lot in the sense of tens of thousands, but a lot in response to what I'm doing. And so, I may get 100, 200 hits on an article that's popular, for not only the people that I'm consulting for, but also the people that I'm bringing the information to on LinkedIn. So, so that has been an effective way to do it. On the video side, Jim, I think it's something that I want to do more of. In fact, Tim and I have been talking about some different strategies to really expand what goes on in business development, B2B type work. I don't think the community that I'm familiar with is really utilizing social media as much as they could be. And video is an excellent example. So by doing video clips, populating it on YouTube and making that accessible and posting that to either as a message or to individual companies, you're getting that story out. You could provide a clip from a chief scientific officer on a very particular subject for 5 or 6 minutes. Obviously, I don't really like the really long ones because, people are going to go away. But a series of very specific topics, 5, 6, 7 minute topics, I think is an excellent idea. And I don't think it's being used as much as it could be. And it will be used more.
Right. I know that, Cisco's saying that 80% of content is going to be, video by 2020. And so it is interesting. And you talk, to a very specific industry. I've got a couple friends that are in your industry that it doesn't seem like I think to your point, LinkedIn is probably the preferred platform. It doesn't really make sense for you to be on Facebook, or even Instagram, but I could possibly see where there could be some conversation on Twitter, definitely LinkedIn. So I think the other thing is, have you really seen or have you used ads yet at all with LinkedIn? And if so, what's been your impression of that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Let me take a step back on what you said there. LinkedIn right now is really the number one for me. I see YouTube being right behind it, and of course Google. I mean, Google as the number one search engine is invaluable to what I do. So the Google YouTube connection. I have not given up on Instagram. I don't use it much, or Twitter. I don't use much. But I think as all these other ones grow, and Facebook, I think what you're going to find is, there's going to be access where you can narrow down and target the kind of people I need to target on Facebook. If I could do that, that would be a great platform also, because, there's, 2 billion people on Facebook. There's only 400 million on LinkedIn. So to kind of summarize, I think it's growing and it's going to get better using social media. But right now I'm focusing on LinkedIn, Google, YouTube, hopefully with more video, and that type of approach. So what was you had another part to that question?
Oh, I was just saying, I can't, one of the things, the focus of ads. Have you used ads on LinkedIn? Yeah. Do you see it as being?
I have not used the ads yet. I'm trying to figure out, and I've been talking to Tim actually, picking his brain on how valuable they might or might not be. I don't know just yet. I've read through some of the YouTubes on LinkedIn advertising, and they were very helpful. I'm not convinced they're going to do for me what I want, but they might. See, when I generate this list of information, I'll have 100 to 200 very, very key contacts. And so if I could add, send ads to those specific contacts and pay a reasonable fee, promoting my clients' targeted capabilities, then I think that would be good. If it's in their feed and I know it's the right guy at ABC company, then I think it's a good purpose. The one upside on LinkedIn, of course, is they got a great search capability. So you can, in the drug industry, you have big operations in Boston, San Francisco, San Diego, Philadelphia, North Jersey, that kind of thing. So you would target, let's say, Boston, and VP of biologics will get you quite a list of names. And I assume you could just do an ad to all the VPs of biologics in that space. So I have not tried it. I'm not sure if it's effective. It sounds like it's a little more expensive than some of the other ads, but it is targeted. So it's something that I want to kind of discuss more with my customers too, my clients. I do the same technique to identify and find my clients, and that works quite well. But the majority of my man hours on LinkedIn are focused on my clients' customers. So, my Gary Casey page is somewhat adequate to tell people about my background in the industry and let them know what I do. So I have not gone down that road yet. I may do that in the future.
Yeah, because I've heard the same thing about company pages have been a little bit, it's really kind of the jury, I think, is still out on how effective they are. I know they keep trying to make updates. I have a company page. I haven't done a lot with it either. I'm like you, where I think I tend to use my profile. And but yeah, I was also curious if you have maybe created some groups. I mean, groups has become big on Facebook.
Yeah, the group thing, I had done a lot of work with that a couple of years ago. LinkedIn keeps evolving, and sometimes not the way I'd like it to evolve. But for example, 3 or 4 years ago, if I joined a specific group antibodies or nano drug delivery, and they probably have them, they have so many different groups, I could message within that group nonstop. I could send messages, respond to people, send them information, and it was a very fluid, dynamic opportunity. They've kind of cut that down. They made the group interaction, more cumbersome, and so I use it a lot less than I used to. I find myself going directly to the people I want to talk to, and then interacting with them directly. But I think the group idea makes a lot of sense. I'm just not sure that their changes have improved it or made it less effective.
Gotcha.
I know, Gary, what some businesses do is they say they have a list of people, and then what they'll do is, since the LinkedIn group functionality hasn't been so favored lately, what they'll do is they'll invite them on Facebook and create a Facebook group, and then get them involved that way.
Yeah. I think if you can accomplish that, I think any way you could get a particular group formed of similar interests is a good thing for B2B work, and I would be in favor of those types of things. I haven't tried that, but I'm kind of hoping Facebook really starts to take this a little more seriously and creating kind of a B2B culture. And if they do, I think it would be important. But remember, on LinkedIn, the main reason we all got on LinkedIn, I got on LinkedIn, when I had my own business in Philly, and I didn't even know what it was. They sent me something, and I just signed up for it, and I didn't even use it. I didn't really need it because I wasn't looking for a job. Well, that's why everybody got on LinkedIn. It's a good place to put your resume, put your information, but that's the key. So that allows me to search and contact the right people. So Facebook doesn't really have that type of situation. And so, they're not quite there yet. So right now, I think it's still LinkedIn for me as kind of the lead service.
Okay, cool. A few minutes ago, Dorothy Iltis Cooper posted this, Jim.
Yep.
Jim, you look great. I just saw the link.
Yeah, we have the link on Facebook for the wristbands that my business partner and I are selling to raise money for Hurricane Florence. So I think that's the link she's talking about.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Gary, you had mentioned when we were talking about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Could you tell people a little bit what that is and how that could help them?
Yeah, I use that, and it's probably a good point of clarification. So, a lot of people are on LinkedIn with the basic free service, and which is good and covers a lot of bases. but I use it, a lot more. I'm a lot more active on it. And so I needed other services. I needed more in-mail contacts, things like that. And so I added the Sales Navigator.
Gary, sorry to interrupt you. Can you explain what in-mail is for people who don't know what in-mail means?
Yeah, in-mail. Okay, good point. So, we're all familiar with email. And when you're doing business development, B2B type development, even if you have somebody's email, and often it's not accurate. So if you have somebody's email, there's so many filters on the system. Your chances of getting through are maybe 25%. I don't know. So what I do is I use the LinkedIn InMail, which is the same basic thing. Subject, who is it coming from, what I want to talk about. I can add some attachments, and I send that out. Now, in some cases, it's because I can't make a connection with the person, and their only point of access is through InMail. So I go to InMail because I really want to talk to them, and I send them an InMail. So it's the same thing as an email, except it's to all the LinkedIn. It's to the LinkedIn members that you identify, and you pay for that services. So I'm paying more a month than I would like to, but it's a critical part of my business model. So I'm happy to pay it, but I pay for the additional InMail access so that I can get the word out for my clients, and so that's what I use.
Okay, great. I know I used it a few years ago. It's probably changed a bit since then.
Well, I think the one advantage is it actually gets to the person, in my opinion. They may not respond to it. They may say, leave me alone. I mean, but you get those things from everybody. But I believe it gets to the person through LinkedIn, where I think the email, could be quite easily filtered out. I mean, we all have, on my Google, there's a certain amount of filtration there going on. If some email comes in that I haven't been talking with that person, once you get established with them, I think you're okay on the email. But LinkedIn generally will get to that person. Doesn't mean you're always going to get a response, though.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to throw out that Jim had mentioned earlier, and I think this is a very important point. My background is in the pharmaceutical industry, and I can tell you all about that, and we can spend a lot of time talking about it. But this technique works for basically any industry that's doing some type of a technical delivery, business development, bigger ticket items, things like that. In our industry, there's a lot of money spent, billions and billions of dollars spent on contract services for the pharma industry. So this would apply, and I've used it in other industries. I was doing some work with an environmental services company, and I used all the things I just described here. I didn't know anybody in the oil and gas industry, and within 2 months, I landed a $400,000 project.
Wow.
For somebody I met on LinkedIn. I met the guy. In that case, I did meet the guy. Actually went out and had coffee with him in the center part of Pennsylvania. But then I got a call a Sunday night about 3 weeks later, and he says, hey, I need some work done. We need it right away. I need your guys out there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it worked, and did it all. So this does work for other industries. I think that the problem is the typical salesperson, and I've had a number of them working for me over the years, they're being asked to do so many different things that lead generation is just one small aspect of their job. And it should never be a small, unimportant aspect. It's very important. But they're dealing with customer issues. They're dealing with forecasts. They're dealing with, all the things that a salesperson does. And so, quite frankly, do they really have the time to effectively do the sales lead generation? So I think it does, fall by the wayside. So that's kind of why I try to position myself in helping the sales team to really do an effective lead identification and qualification.
Sure. It's kind of funny how me and Gary met. Gary attended I don't know if it was a social media workshop in Pennsylvania. Do you remember what it was about, Gary?
On the shop that you were supposed to speak at?
Yeah.
It was a marketing, general marketing on social media. It was really, again, I'm not sure who else was. There was another speaker there, but but it was focused on
Yeah.
B2C, and which was good. It was good for the and I know you guys are helping a lot of people out there trying to connect with consumers, and I think it's great because I would say every restaurant that I've been to and taken a picture of, and when they get 50,000 views of those pictures, if they have to ask why they need to be on Facebook, they need to get out of business.
That's so true. And it's
so obvious.
Yeah. And I actually was not able to attend this workshop that Gary was attending. There were David Good from M3 Internet Marketing and Lori Guzda from, she also does marketing work. Her website address is laguzda.com, Guzda. And what happened was that I got sick and they attended it. And I sent an email out to all the attendees anyway, saying, hey, sorry I couldn't be there. I was sick. Would you like to be on my email list? And just a few weeks ago, me and Gary met in person for the first time. So it's really a testament to the power of in-person or not in-person, plus email or social, leading to something like this.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, that's how Tim and I have gotten connected. Is we were actually both watching a live video such as this, and I got invited to talk about Instagram TV, and then Tim and I connected, and then one thing led to another, and he invited me to be on the show, to talk about Google, and he's like, hey, how'd you like to co-host with me every week? I was like, sure, it sounds like fun, and I think we're both enjoying it, getting a chance to bring people like you on, Gary. And I just had, I think Tim might have saw, I just met someone in real life because I have.
No? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good point.
If anybody has any more questions for Gary, please put them down below in the comments. We seem to have lost Jim. Oh, here, I'll bring him back. Jim, come back, Jim.
I'm back.
There you are. I thought we lost you. So in the meantime, Gary, do you think there's anything that we missed in terms of LinkedIn tips for people that are interested in B2B business development?
I'd encourage anybody that has any questions to listen there. I'll be happy to respond. I think it's a very effective technique. I know business to business sales. I've done it for many years, and it's the modern age. I mean, the things that I used in the late 80s don't exist nowadays. So these are the tools that are extremely effective, far more effective than we had back then. For doing what we needed to do. I mean, we had the same goals back then. We just had different tools to get there. So I would encourage people that are serious about business to business activities to do this and find ways that work it into your schedule, whether you're a sales guy on the road or whether you're doing it remotely like I do. I try to stay off the planes. I try not to travel all over the country like I used to do. But I try to be as effective as I was back then. So.
Sure. Jim, do you want to talk a little bit about your bracelets and what's going on down in North Carolina?
Yeah, well, as I talked about last week, both myself and my web and graphic designer, we evacuated our homes prior to the storm. That's because we thought we were getting a Category 4, and so she's still stuck in Georgia, and I'm up here in Virginia. So she came up with the design, and so we've got these bracelets. They're actually now in both of our Facebook business pages in our shops. And so we're charging $5 for these bracelets, and we're going to take a good portion of the proceeds to help rebuild our community by directly going and helping those folks that need help. Because a lot of times when you're going through the government and everything else and the bureaucracy, the money doesn't get to where it needs to go. And there's just so many people that need help right now. I mean, it's almost overwhelming. And so I'm hoping to get back down there on Monday. And Tim, we appreciate you buying a couple of the bracelets as well. And
Of course.
so I've got the link on my business page on Facebook. I've also shared a post on LinkedIn that I'll update with the actual link to the shopping cart if there's people that want to buy that. I would also encourage folks, especially since this was about LinkedIn, to put their LinkedIn profile in the comments if people would like to connect.
Love it.
And I'll make sure I put mine out there as well, because I'd love to connect with you, Gary. You've got some great insight on LinkedIn, and that's definitely one of those platforms I know I could do better at as well.
Yeah, I'll add mine as well. Make it easier for people.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions, where we help businesses get more leads and more sales through effective social media. And Jim, take it away.
Yeah, and I'm Jim Fuse with Fusion Marketing, a digital marketing trainer and consultant, and looking to help small businesses find their ideal target market so that they can get the right people and do the right sales.
And
Thanks,
you,
gentlemen.
Gary.
Have a good day.
We appreciate
Thank you, Gary.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.